Dear Taurus, something feels off in your routine today, and you cannot quite name why. You are checking things twice. You are noticing objects in a room you normally ignore. And underneath it, there is a quiet ache, like you are carrying more than you are saying out loud. Here is the strange part. None of this is random, and none of it is a warning. It is actually two very different planetary stories colliding on the same day, and once you see how they connect, the tension you are feeling starts to make a lot more sense. The bigger picture. Tay's chart carries a long-term thread and a short-term spark. And Taurus, you are standing right at the point where they cross. The long thread is Saturn moving through Aries and your 12th house, the zone of solitude, inner processing, spiritual reflection, and things you would rather not look at directly. In Western tropical astrology, this house governs what is hidden, including hidden stress and unfinished emotional business. This cycle has made recent months feel slow, almost like moving through water. But there is a detail worth holding on to. This cycle has an endpoint. It will not last indefinitely, and treating it as a defined assignment rather than a permanent condition changes how it feels to live through it. Layered on top of that slower current is today's faster-moving weather. The moon is meeting Venus, your own ruling planet, inside Libra, and your 6th house, the house of work, health, and daily habits. That combination tends to make ordinary tasks, small conversations, and physical routines feel unusually smooth. But later, that same moon shifts into opposition with Saturn, reaching back into that 12th house theme we just named. In plain terms, ease in the morning meets a reminder in the evening that rest is not optional. Meanwhile, in Vedic tradition, the moon is placed in Virgo, and Astrology's reading frames the day around financial improvement and careful money management rather than emotional undertone. Here's where it gets interesting. The Western lens sees today as emotional care, effort, and hidden fatigue. The Vedic lens sees today as practical organization, tracking, and financial clarity. Two different systems, two different vocabularies, but both are pointing at the same underlying request. Slow down enough to actually manage what you are carrying, instead of just pushing through it. There is also a third current, quieter but important. Mercury and Jupiter are combining in a way that magnifies whatever visually surrounds you. Clutter, screens, open tabs, chaotic decor, these are not just background noise today, they are actively pulling focus away from what matters. Keep that in mind because it resurfaces in a way you will not expect. Love. Here is the emotional question worth sitting with today. Are you offering care because you want to, or because stopping feels selfish? That is not a rhetorical question. It is exactly what this Venus-Moon connection is asking you to examine. If you are in a relationship, today may bring an unusual softness. Shared meals, small errands, quiet routines done together. These ordinary moments can carry more warmth than a grand gesture would. Venus is your ruling planet, so when the moon meets it, connection through simple, physical, everyday acts tends to land more meaningfully than words. But watch what happens as the day continues. That same tenderness can tip into overfunctioning, you doing the emotional labor for two people, smoothing every rough edge, absorbing tension so your partner does not have to. That is where the Saturn opposition comes back in. It does not cancel the closeness. It exposes the cost of it. If you are single, a different but related current is active. One source describes a Scorpio figure offering blunt, possibly uncomfortable honesty about your emotional patterns today. Do not dismiss it just because it stings a little. Scorpio energy does not flatter, it clarifies. If someone in your life, especially someone with that kind of directness, says something that lands harder than expected, there may be a kernel of accuracy worth examining rather than defending against. For those managing distance in a relationship, Tay may feel more draining than usual, while couples who share physical proximity may find unusual ease. And if a new connection has entered the picture recently, this window may open unexpected doors, not guaranteed romance, but genuine possibility worth staying open to. The unanswered question from earlier care or obligation gets its answer here. Real intimacy lets the other person care for you too. If it is one-directional, it is not devotion. It is depletion, wearing devotion's clothing. Career. That same one-directional pattern does not stay in your relationships. It tends to show up at work too, and this is where the story deepens rather than restarts. The sixth house governs daily labor, not big career leaps, so today is not about a dramatic professional turn. It is about how you are handling the ordinary mechanics of your job. You may have noticed yourself double-checking systems today, rereading a process, questioning whether a task could be automated, wondering if your team is actually aligned or just assuming they are. That instinct is worth trusting right now. With Mercury and Jupiter combining to magnify visual and mental clutter, disorganized systems will bother you more than usual, and for good reason. Before launching anything ambitious, this configuration favors reviewing what is already running. Are there gaps in a routine process? Could a task be delegated instead of carried solo? Even if micromanaging is not your natural style, a careful pass over daily operations now can prevent a bigger problem down the line. Get the machine quietly running well today, and bigger moves become far more achievable soon after. Money. This is where the Vedic and Western threads meet most clearly, and it is worth noticing. Vedic guidance today centers financial improvement through careful tracking and disciplined spending, especially favorable for those in business, with late morning into midday often cited as a particularly productive window. From the Western side, the same day is described as one where money decisions are likely to align with your instincts. Your judgment is trustworthy right now, particularly around resource management. Put together, both traditions are converging on the same practical takeaway from different angles. Today rewards attention over impulse, not fear-driven caution, just intentional tracking. Reviewing a budget, checking a contract detail, or organizing outstanding invoices fits naturally into today's energy, and small efforts toward financial order now tend to compound into visible gains as the day and the week continues. Health. Here is the detail that ties everything together, so pay close attention to this part. All morning, the Venus-Moon combination makes it easy to feel fine, to say yes to one more task, one more favor, one more thing on the list. It feels good. It feels manageable. But feeling good and being sustainable are not the same thing, and that gap is exactly what the later Saturn opposition exposes. You may notice a headache that builds slowly, a tightness in your shoulders you did not register until now, or a wave of tiredness that arrives disproportionate to what you actually did that day. This is not a malfunction. It is information. The chart is essentially asking you to notice the difference between productivity and depletion before your body forces the distinction on you. One useful practice, valid across traditions, is simply naming the one task that actually matters today and letting the rest wait. Protecting even 20 minutes of real quiet, no screen, no obligation tends to matter more today than it would on an ordinary day. On the subject of remedies, some Vedic practitioners may recommend Saturn-related practices, specific gemstones, or mantras for individuals whose birth charts indicate a genuine need for them. This is never universal advice. Gemstone prescription in Vedic astrology depends on personal chart analysis, including planetary dignity and timing, and should never be adopted casually based on sun sign alone. What is universally safe, though, is wearing the color associated with today's fortunate influence, or spending a few quiet minutes in reflection, journaling, or simply sitting somewhere calm, small, safe, and genuinely restorative. Home and family. That same theme, quiet care versus invisible exhaustion, extends naturally into your home life today. Shared domestic tasks, a conversation with a family member, or simply being present in your living space can feel unusually pleasant thanks to that early Venus moon warmth. You might find yourself wanting to tidy a shared space, cook for someone, or simply sit with family without needing to perform anything. But remember what we noticed earlier about Mercury and Jupiter magnifying visual clutter. If your home currently feels chaotic, too many open projects, too much visual noise, too many half-finished corners, that discomfort is louder today than usual, and it is worth listening to. Clearing even one surface, removing one distracting object, or simplifying one corner of a shared space can feel disproportionately calming. A nearly empty wall is not boring. Today, it might be exactly the blank space your mind needs in order to actually rest. Travel and spirit. If travel is part of your week, today favors bringing something to occupy restless energy, a book, a project, anything that gives your mind a task during transit, since idle waiting may feel more draining than usual under this configuration. But the deeper travel today is not geographic. It is the internal one. Remember that 12th house cycle we named at the beginning, the one connected to solitude, reflection, religion, therapy, or inner work. That cycle is winding down, not vanishing instantly, but genuinely approaching its edge. If you have felt like you were moving through fog for months, this is meaningful. It does not mean the fog lifts overnight. It means you finally have a horizon to walk toward instead of an unmarked stretch of road. Taking this in smaller pieces this week, this month, rather than demanding immediate resolution, tends to feel far more sustainable than expecting overnight clarity. Lucky signs. Yellow carries favorable energy today, particularly for financial matters, and the window between roughly 10:30 in the morning and noon is considered especially productive for money-related decisions. Scorpio energy plays a meaningful role today, whether through someone's honest words or a deeper undercurrent worth noticing in your own reactions. Keep something engaging nearby if you are moving through your day quickly, since restless moments benefit from a small distraction close at hand. Today's guidance. If there is one thread running underneath everything today, it is this. Ease and exhaustion can look identical from the outside, and only you know which one you are actually standing in. The morning invites connection, generosity, and small acts of care. The later hours ask you to notice what those acts have cost you, and to let someone else carry some of the weight for once. Handle your systems, your space, and your finances with the same quiet attentiveness the chart is favoring today, and trust your instincts around money without second-guessing them into paralysis. Take the 12th house cycle we named at the start seriously, but gently. It has an edge, even if that edge is not today. And when it comes to the people around you, remember that devotion which never receives anything back is not sustainable, no matter how good it feels in the moment. That fog you have been walking through has a shape now. It has an end. And today, in the small decision to rest instead of overextend, you are already walking toward it.